You might be watching my videos and wondering to yourself, how am I going to apply for SSDI and I ain't got no medical doctors? Come here, let me talk to you for a second. There are some people who have some serious medical conditions that keep them from working, but the problem is they don't have any medical evidence to back it up. And it's because they don't have their own doctors seeing them for their conditions. And because they don't have doctors, they wonder, why would I even put in an application? Because as soon as they see that I don't have any doctors, they're going to deny me right off the bat. SSA did some work to put in a protection in these kind of situations. And that protection is called safeguarding against a denial. Safeguarding against a denial is this idea that the DDS cannot deny you if they cannot obtain medical evidence or you are unable to furnish evidence of a disability from an acceptable medical source due to circumstances beyond your control. In other words, if you're unable to get some medical attention from a medical doctor and there's no way to back up your claim that you have a particular condition and or the DDS can't get the information themselves, they can't deny you because you didn't have the resources or you didn't have any kind of help to get that medical treatment. How that looks is you might fill an application for SSDI and you don't have any doctors. You don't have any kind of medical professional who is an acceptable medical source by SSA on your application. The DDS cannot deny you because you don't have doctors to list on your application. And it's not your fault that you don't have medical doctors to list on your application. So what if you have no way to establish that you have a medically determinable impairment in the eyes of Social Security since you don't have any doctors? Well, what's going to happen is the DDS is going to send you to a CE appointment. I talked about CEs or consultative exams in other videos. If you're looking for one, I got it right up here. It should pop up right about now. All right, so there it is. You can look on that video and find out what a CE is. And it doesn't matter if it's a physical condition or a mental condition, the same rules apply. If you are alleging that you have physical conditions that are keeping you from working and are rendering you disabled, then they'll send you to a physical CE. If you have some mental allegations where you said you have something going on a mental or emotional level, then they'll send you to a mental CE, be it a psychiatric CE or a psychological CE. CE doctors are providing medical records for your claim. So that way, if you don't have doctors, because you have a legit reason why you don't have a doctor and you can't list anything or anyone on your application, they send you to a CE who will provide a report that shows that you have this condition or that condition, and a DDS can use that report or those reports to make a medical determination. Now, the only difference between the physical condition and a mental condition on your application when you don't have doctors is this. If you have mental allegations, maybe depression or bipolar, schizophrenia, something along those lines, anxiety, PTSD, the DDS is going to send you a function report. And the function report is also referred to as the activities of daily living. This is a pretty long form. It is one of the major forms that the DDS will send you to get an idea of what your life is like on a daily basis with your conditions. The key is understanding that for mental allegations or conditions, a function report is helpful to understand what your functional abilities are, because those things are necessary to find out if you actually meet or equal a listing. Now, most people get really confused and overwhelmed because they get this form with all these pages that they have to fill out, and they're only given 10 to 14 days to fill them out and send them back. So that creates a lot of stress and anxiety. And I'm sure that it is going to be just a challenge to have to rack your brain and put down everything in a way where the DDS can see what's happening. That's why I have provided for you what's called the SSA Forms Masterclass Suite. So I provided video masterclasses of the most widely used forms sent by the DDS, and also I cover some SSA forms as well. All you have to do is go to gregbrinkley.org/masterclasses, and I will show you exactly what will help you complete the forms in an easy and clear way. I go through each form section by section, question by question. I break it all down and take all the guesswork out. So go to gregbrinkley.org/masterclasses. Having these forms is going to be a time saver and a game changer for your SSDI claim. Now let's get into something that's really interesting about these types of cases, because there are some people who have what's called an obvious impairment. Let's get into that. An obvious impairment kind of looks like this. Let's say you go to your local field office, your local Social Security office, and the local office actually sees evidence of your impairment. It's obvious to them. Someone has put eyes on you and they see that you have something going on that is clearly an impairment under Social Security. These are really extreme cases, and let me give you a list of types of obvious impairments. It could be someone who's missing both eyes. It could be someone who has amputations on both arms at or below the wrists. It could be a person who has amputations of both legs at or above the ankle region. Plus, they have the inability to use a prosthesis, or they need a handheld assistive mobility device that is prescribed by a doctor. Or they could have had a hemipelvectomy, which is an amputation that is right at the region of your pelvis. The ones I just covered can be found under listing 120 in the musculoskeletal listings in the Blue Book. So you can actually kind of read that for yourself to see what these involve. But these are obvious impairments that the field office, the FO, can actually see for themselves. And they can make a notation on a form called a 3367, which goes with your claim to the DDS. And the DDS will see on this form, hey, we had just seen this person in the office, and this person has lost both eyes. And this is an obvious situation where this person is disabled. And let's say in this situation that there are no medical records to get. There are no doctors, there are no hospital records, there's nothing. In these obvious situations, there's not going to be a CE needed because, one, the field office put eyes on you and saw this is the case. You're not lying. And they have documented that they have seen the situation, and there really is no need to send you to a CE. And even in the case where they tried to get medical records, either by the field office or the DDS trying to get those records, they were unsuccessful in doing so. Because of that, there's an obvious impairment. They try to get records. There's documented that you have this condition. There's really no need to send you to a CE because, like I said, this is an obvious impairment. So the bottom line is this: you may have legit reasons why you don't have a doctor. You no longer have health insurance because you lost it, or you weren't able to pay the premiums. Your doctor retired and the medical records are no longer available. The medical files by your doctors were either destroyed or kept in some kind of storage. You're in between doctors and you were seeing these doctors before you had the disabling condition. I worked on many of these cases in my career when I was working on active caseloads. And these are cases that I jumped on at day one because I would see in the application that this person had allegations of medical conditions, but they had no medical sources. So I would be setting up a CE on day one of the case because I know that there was no way for me to be able to document whether this person had doctors. I may put it in a call just to make sure that they didn't overlook putting down a doctor, but a lot of times they didn't have anybody treating them, or the ones that were treating them are no longer in the picture. And because of this, I would just set up a CE on day one and get this case moving right away. And on top of setting up the CE, I would also send out the forms on day one. So if they had a mental allegation, I'm sending out the function report on day one. Or if there's some allegation of pain or seizures or whatnot, I'm sending out those forms on day one because I'm not waiting around on a case because they have no doctors. Okay, so what if you do have doctors and your doctors may not be acceptable by Social Security. Or how would you know that your doctor is acceptable or unacceptable by Social Security's standards? I got a video that gets right into that picture. Just click on this link up here and it'll take you to a video that gets into whether your doctor's records are either gold or garbage. And I'll see you on the other side in the next video.